What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Coast NBA. Welcome into the new year. I know we're a little late on that, but happy to get back on the air here. Happy to see my friend Ronan. And Ronan's letting me do the intro. It's a new year, it's a new me. We're going to talk some Cavs. We're going to talk some Thunder. Huge game last night. Most importantly, we're going to talk about some New Year's resolutions. So I'm going to start right there. Ronan, welcome to 2025. Tell me one of your New Year's resolutions, and maybe we'll talk about some NBA ones. I want to hear yours first, though.
Well, of course, it's to let you do the intros. That's obviously that's the first thing I thought of when I coming into the new year.
Your
As soon as
back's
it,
been hurting on the intros. I know, I
yeah,
know.
man, as soon as that clock struck midnight, I was like, all right, damn, right, Chris has got to start doing more intros, and that will just make everything so much better. I
I
think
don't
people
know
hear
about
your nice
better. I don't know
soft
about better.
voice, they hear your nice soft voice on the intro. They get bring in more listeners. That's what it's all about.
Well, no, tell me one. This is impromptu. Do you have a resolution for 2025? New year,
No,
same
just do
Ronan. No,
more.
do
Just
more.
do
All right,
more.
grind.
Just keep that get on that grind and just keep on doing more. Keep growing the podcast. Keep growing my profile. That's what I'm doing this year.
I love that. I love the bro coded grind hard 2025 knows the grindstone. Honestly, same here. And maybe drink less than 4 cups of coffee a day. But I'm going to keep it simple this year. I'm not going to go crazy off the rails.
Be
But
realistic, yeah.
I'll be realistic. And I think my first New Year's resolution is to watch more Cleveland Cavaliers basketball. I know it's not just for the transition. That is truthful. Let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about Cavs. Let's talk about Thunder. Then we'll talk about our resolutions for some teams. But that game last night, I don't hesitate to say that that was the game of the year.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
saw the two best teams in the league. And I did not know this. Two teams with 10 game winning streaks have not faced each other in the NBA. The first time. And we saw a matchup between two of the best teams, arguably like the best by record. And we saw two very different styles. We saw two very good defenses in different ways. Oklahoma City more perimeter oriented, playing smaller, playing fast. Cleveland Cavaliers using their size. I mean, what did we see that was most, I guess, interesting to you? Because like there was such a mix of style and a lot of unexpected outcomes, I think, on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I was really noticing watching the game is just the significant improvement in Evan Mobley's game offensively this year. I think that's been such an important marker for the Cavs and their growth as a team this year. Obviously, along with Kenny Atkinson coming in, but Mobley's growth, he's finally getting to that level that the Cavs expected when they drafted him, and the one we were kind of wondering and waiting to see was he going to get to. And this year we're seeing it like that even just that layup that he hit towards the end of the game that almost
Hmm.
had to ice the game for them. That's something we weren't going to see last year from him. So the growth from Evan Mobley is one thing that, as much as I've seen it in kind of the box score and on my fantasy team so far this year, watching it against the elite competition that is the Oklahoma City Thunder was really, really something to behold.
Yeah, we talked about silver linings last year when they were just really depleted and they had an inevitable sweep, getting swept by the Celtics. And we saw Mobley in that last game, and we saw a flash,
Mhm.
more flashes than we had seen before in that elimination game when he just really went toe to toe with Celtics and made them work for that last win. And we are like, okay, that could be the vision there. But I'm not gonna lie to you and say that like over the summer, like I really held on to that, like that was going to be the outcome. It just felt like a flash for me. I wasn't sure if it was gonna come out. And I think we really underestimated the impact, not only of his growth, but of Kenny Atkinson and the continuity of this team, not blowing it up and them being able to play together. But he looks confident ever. And I'm glad you brought up that last possession there around like a minute, 7 seconds. Because not only did that embody what Mobley did for this game, what he's done for the whole season, but this team as a whole. I mean, Oklahoma City, we've talked about some of their issues with size, and Hartenstein has been great for them. I mean, they've been playing fantastic, having great interior defense with him around, especially now that they don't have Chet. But they got bullied. They got bullied, and the Cavs are one of the most dominant interior forces in the league. What they get? They got a miss, offensive rebound off the free throw, offensive rebound off the miss.
It was
And
four
then
straight.
Mobley's
Didn't they
like,
have like four straight
yep.
offense rebounds? Yeah.
And Mobley's like, okay, I'm just going to drive through Isaiah Hartenstein and just score at the rim. And that's what they can do. And I think we saw the full spectrum of what the Cleveland Cavaliers are capable of. If people honestly, like myself, have been sleeping a bit on their offense, which is not so quietly the best offense in basketball right now.
Mhm.
It's not the Celtics. It's not the Thunder. It's the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think we would have been not too shocked to say, oh, this is the best defense in basketball, top three. They're really up there. Their interior defense is so good. But no, it's the offense. And the way that they can play, not just from the perimeter. Now we get to see Max Strus in the fold. I mean, he was fantastic last night. But the way they move the ball, the way they have so much off-ball movement, the way they're able to shift from, Mobley's playmaking, now Garland's playmaking, and the way that Mitchell too was really playing point guard, even though he wasn't having a great shooting night. You have to give hats off to him that he played like a true star.
3 of 16, and the Cavs have
Three,
won.
this is the funny thing though, and I think this speaks to I think that Mitchell doesn't get the same treatment that Tatum gets. I
Hmm.
think he gets more of a pat on the back. I don't know why, honestly. But there are times when Tatum's having a bad game and he has to be a playmaker, and I applaud him for that. And I think we saw a similar situation here where Mitchell didn't have it going because the Thunder just have such a good perimeter defense. I mean, they were shading two on the ball all game. Mitchell knew it, and he knew if he got into the teeth of defense, there was going to be a wide open three from the corner. And the Cavs were able to just match the Thunder's 3-point rate, and they were able to get their shooters open. I think that speaks to the leadership of Mitchell.
I think it was Mike Breen who brought it up on the broadcast. I think he made the point that it's we're seeing similar sort of what remember when Tatum last year said, I'm gonna do
Yeah,
less to achieve
yeah,
more. He said
yeah,
that's what we're seeing from Donovan Mitchell. And like I know obviously it's kind of cliches. Almost you could say it's a lot of bullshit, but I think it's actually true. Like that is what we're seeing from Donovan Mitchell in the position and the way he's playing with this Cavs team this season. And like just put in how dominant the offense is in the context. The Thunder are giving up 103 points per game.
yeah,
Cavs had that after 3 quarters.
yeah,
Like that just shows the level that they're at. And think of that. That's a Thunder team that held the Boston Celtics to 27 points in the second half on Sunday.
yeah,
Like this
yep,
this Cavs team is legit. They had so much more to gain from winning that game last night. They went out and did it. And now it was kind of that moment there. You're kind of like, not to say you're going to be more concerned about the Thunder, but you're kind of just looking at the Cavs like, damn, they really are legit.
yeah. It's really hard to defend them for a couple reasons. Like they have so many different weapons. The way that they have played the short roll to maximize two bigs on the floor. Like Allen is such an underrated passer. I don't know if you've been able to say that enough on this pod, but whenever you bring him up, I love it's just such a joy to watch him with the basketball. Like Draymond Green, I think is the best non-Jokic big passing in the league. Let's talk. I mean, Sabonis there. Allen is Allen up there. I mean,
It's up
he's
there.
probably one of the best
Probably doesn't
options.
have
Him,
probably doesn't
Hartenstein.
get the assist numbers like
Yeah.
those other guys, but in terms of actual passing, and I think we're seeing that rub off a little bit on Mobley as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Both of them have always been such good passers. But like the ball in the middle of the floor with either of those guys, you have to be having someone in the dunker spot. And they just didn't have the size. OKC doesn't have the size to do that. And to defend that all while making sure that you have two on the ball with Mitchell, like that's just such an impossible task. And I think that a lot of times last year, and a lot of it has to do with injury, Garland did not show up when he should have.
Hmm.
And he was so aggressive tonight. And I think you would have expected like, okay, you're going up against big guards, you're going against Dort, Williams, getting SGA put on you. He didn't care. I mean, he was aggressive. He got to the cup a lot. If you look at his numbers last year, shot 49% at the rim. Terrible. This year shooting 55% at the rim, getting the rim more, looking more confident, and that floater game is looking good. Man, I just can't think of a better showing than for them to be this successful against a OKC Thunder team, OKC Thunder defense. Like what questions do I have remaining about them really being successful in a 7-game series after they do something like that?
Yeah, I mean, like it's almost obviously we still have such a long way to go in the regular season, but now like looking at this Cavs team, it's like they've almost answered like all the questions we've had about them. Now it's just let's see them in a playoff series. That's what we need to see next. That's
Yeah,
that's the next step. Like
I'll see it and I'll believe
I'm
it.
ready. I'm ready to see
Yeah,
them in a playoff series now.
yeah, and I'm not even just saying that because one game, but just what they've done over the course of the season. They've done it without Max Strus, and I think that's a key part of it. They've also incorporated Ty Jerome. He's been a really cool story this year.
Yeah,
I mean, you
great last
love to
night.
see guys, you put them on the floor and they just have instant confidence. It's hard to find guys like that where they're sitting on a bench for half the game. You throw them in, instant confidence, get you 10 buckets. And this guy, the way that he can play make when Karis LeVert doesn't have it going is important because when last year when Karis LeVert wasn't there to be kind of the floor, I mean that they were just the Cavs had nothing. If
Yeah, I
you
mean
could,
Ty Jerome kind of did to the OKC Thunder what Aaron Wiggins did to the Knicks
yeah,
last Friday night.
yeah,
Obviously, Aaron
yeah.
Wiggins was more, it was all in the fourth quarter and just went nuts. Ty Jerome was more consistently over the game, but it was kind of a similar sort of thing. That other guy you weren't really thinking about had a huge impact on the outcome of the game.
So yeah, I mean there's just a totality to this team, a completeness to this team. You see the movement is seamless. You see that the spacing is great compared to last year. You see that the roles seem so much more defined now that everyone is in play. And if they just stay healthy, I think we could rant about this team, this game for a while,
God
but
bless health and consistency, right?
truly, I mean, they were the most injured team last year, aside from the Grizzlies. I mean, they could not get a stretch, put together a stretch where any of their stars were healthy for a significant amount of time. And, hats off to them. I think the Thunder are still kind of trying to figure out what to do about the size issue. When Chet comes back, that's going to be huge for them. But it's a unique challenge to face a team like the Cavs, who have two, not just big men, but like incredibly skilled big men. I mean, which is watch on defensively, you can't move them around like you can. Even Horford. I mean, Horford's getting a little bit slow. We
Mhm.
saw when Boston tried to run too big, and KP. I mean, he's still getting healthy. He says himself he's still getting healthy, not as mobile. I don't think Allen gets enough credit for how mobile he is as a big. Mobley, we know how mobile he is as a big, but the way that the Cavs can help and recover and rotate with two bigs on the floor is honestly like none other in the league.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Obviously, no need to panic too much when you're the OKC Thunder coming
Oh,
off a
not at
15
all.
game win streak. And that's without they were been out without Caruso for a few games now. They've been without Chet for the entire run. So yeah, no need to panic for OKC. They'll be just fine. But Cavaliers, they're legit. But speaking of health and consistency, you want to get into these New Year's resolutions?
Let's do it. So we wanted to think about the resolutions, the most common New Year's resolutions that I'm sure we're all going to keep. We're not going to get rid of them. And the number one resolution most people talk about, what do you think it is?
Do what?
Exercise more.
Exercise, yeah.
Exercise more. So what teams do you think need to exercise more? Maybe play a little faster, give a little more effort. Let me start with a surprising team because the Orlando Magic, surprisingly, are the slowest team in basketball. They are slowest in pace, which when I saw that shocked me because they were leading the league by a mile in deflections, thanks to Anthony Black, Suggs, Isaac. They are arguably just in terms of on-court product, one of the most hustling teams in the league. But when it comes to actually the fast break and trying to run quick offense for a team that does not have three of their main guys right now, they need to do that some more. So my resolution for the Magic is play faster. You got Anthony Black, you can push the ball. Isaac runs the floor. Now we got Cole Anthony back in the mix actually playing. That's a team that if they're going to keep this thing going and they're going to hold on to their playoff spot, they need to get running the open court more.
Yeah, big reason why they are the 27th ranked offense in the NBA,
Facts.
while they are the second ranked defense. So defense has definitely kept them afloat, and I think Paolo Banchero is due back either tonight or tomorrow
Yeah.
to make his return, which is big. But yeah, I mean, concerning. I did not realize they were that bad in pace. Wow. But yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I mean, I see that, and you know what's weirder? Like, you'd almost like coincide them being slower, but being like a good 3 point shooting team when they're also a terrible 3 point shooting team as well. So like, I
Yeah.
don't know what's leading to the slowness. That's very strange, and you're dead right. That is something that absolutely needs to change for them.
And on the opposite side, I'll quiz you. Who do you think has the best pace in the league?
I know the
Top
answer, so
three.
this isn't a quiz.
You know the answer? Well, then you
And
ace it.
the answer is the Grizzlies.
The Hawks and the Bulls.
Yeah.
Fastest teams in the league, and they've been fun to watch.
Yeah, and they're doing it right. They're teams that should be playing fast, and they're executing it well. That's being a big part of what success, especially the Grizzlies have had a lot of success. Hawks have had some success. Bulls have had hit and miss success. But two teams that are lower down on the list that need to get up there to sustain what they're doing or to even become more consistent second half of the year. I've got the Pacers and the Rockets. I know the Rockets are always going to be a little bit slower because they're going to play through Şengün more, but when there's certain lineups that they have out there, when it's like Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, Jalen Green, like they should be a really fast team, and that could be an
Yeah,
area where we see growth from them, whether it be the second half of the year or just moving forward in 2025 and into next season as well. And then the Pacers, of course, that's what made them great last year. They need to get back to being one of the fastest teams in the league.
yeah, interesting. So both those teams are interesting. In the last 15 games, the Rockets have been the second slowest team in pace. If you look at the whole season, they've been right around average, and I almost feel the opposite for them.
Really?
And
Okay.
I'll transition to this. I had one resolution. Everyone wants to learn a new skill or a hobby. And I think when we talk about the Rockets, I think that they need to learn to pass the ball a little bit more. And they have been doing that more over the last 15 games as their pace has slowed down. I think they have the potential to have good half court offense. They've gotten some better looks from three. They've taken some of the mid-rangers out. Fred VanVleet is no longer shooting 23% from the field. That's been a big help. But they are last in the league in passes made, last in the league in assists. When they're at league average for assists, they're 9-1. They've lost one game when they're at league average for assists in a game. And you see it on the floor. I mean, for instance, when you watch the recent game against the Lakers, um, you see some moments where Jalen Green's getting the ball down the stretch. And the Jalen Green that we know is a guy, he's going to play hero ball. I mean, that's his archetype. That's what he does. But he's passing the ball more. He's getting patient. He's getting to a set and he's making the right read and is not looking for the hero play. And I think that's become infectious. Fred VanVleet's become infectious with the passing. Amen Thompson getting a little bit more touches, being able to get into the lane and kick it out, and they can get more swing, shoot, instead of your occasional Dylan Brooks, end of the shot clock, Kobe moment or your Fred VanVleet rescreening 3, 4 times just to get a shot off. I think they're getting some more flow. It's taking a little bit more time. They're not as breakneck speed, but it's interesting. Comparing those two teams, I think that Magic, they don't have a lot of half court offense to go to. I think the Rockets have more to go to. They have some more
Yeah.
optionality. And slowing down a bit, I think has been good for them. They're now the 11th best offense in the league, which is a far cry better than the bottom 10 offense that we've seen them be.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, you've made some interesting points there. Yeah, maybe I have to watch them a little bit closer, maybe.
But I like that though. The Pacers, that's a huge one for me because I've liked what I've seen recently from Tyrese. How he's been shooting a little bit more. He looks a little bit more confident, and I think he's been able to get to the rim a little bit more than he was at the beginning of the season. Like that burst feels like it's a little bit more there than it was in the beginning.
Yeah, they're getting back to normal slowly. I think we'll see their pace go back up because I think they're still 10th. Like they're not. It's not anything crazy that they're slowed down too much, and they're back up winning record now. They're 20-18. I think they're on a pretty solid run. So yeah, I think we'll start to see that kind of creep up to being like top five again, and then we'll see them get some more wins second half of the year.
Yeah. It has been surprising that they've not been that same fast high octane team. And Halliburton, I just hope that they get to that level that they were last year because they were one of the most fun teams in basketball. And it's been a little bit stale.
They need a shooter, and maybe Cam Johnson could be that shooter for them.
You've been shopping Cam Johnson everywhere. I mean, we both have.
Just
But
saying. Just
yeah.
saying.
On that note, around New Year's, we all think about self-reflection, choosing a direction. And I wanted to think about a team at this second half of the season that needs to really think about their direction and maybe think about choosing a major one. Was there a team that you were thinking of for this?
I'll just say straight off the bat, two teams that need to just be like assholes and say we just need to keep doing the same thing are both the Cavs and the Thunder. They just gotta say we're perfect the way we are. Let's just keep doing what we're doing.
Just two teams. Everyone else.
Everyone else maybe has a little bit areas that they can grow in, but them two, from what they've done in the first half of the year, I think they can just be like, yeah, we just got to keep doing this, and we'll be in a very good position come the end of the year. Teams that need to have a look, figure out who they are, what they need to do. Two Western Conference teams. I'm looking at the Timberwolves and I'm looking at the Lakers.
Hmm.
Different areas. Timberwolves on there, I'm like, you don't need a panic, but you need to have a plan in place. It's okay to kind of not necessarily write this season off, but don't make any panic moves that are just going to leave you in a similar sort of hole this time next year. They just need to have a plan that this offseason they can clean up their books in the right way, not like they did with Cap and just kind of got rid of him just to save money. They need to be able to be in a position to really add pieces around Anthony Edwards that can go on and succeed with him over the next 5+ years. That's what they need to get back to. They need to transition towards that. Wherever that needs to go, does that mean firing the head coach? Does that mean trading Julius Randle? Whatever that means, they got to figure that out. Then you got the Lakers. Lakers just suck. Lakers are not good enough. So they need to say, they
Self-reflect that
cannot
you suck.
trade their first round picks. The only way they should even consider trading one of their first round picks is if they're going to get a player who not only can deliver for them now, but can also be part of their team for the next decade. That's the only way they should consider at all trading those first round picks, because I just don't think there's that guy out there that can really turn them into a contender. I hate saying this because I'm such a believer in you got to exhaust every avenue to get the most success out of this era. But they can't just invest this in the age 40 LeBron, Anthony Davis, who could be a guy that declines rather quickly even after LeBron goes. So you can't invest all of your trade assets in this when I just don't even think that it's going to make the difference for them, really.
Hmm. So you don't think Dorian Finney-Smith was enough?
Dorian Finney-Smith was a great ad for second rounders and D'Lo. To get rid of D'Lo, Dorian Finney-Smith was a good ad. But what's next? Like watching that game against the Dallas Mavericks, I was just like, sorry, you guys are just terrible. There's no trade to save this team. There's no trade to make this team a contender. You just got to roll with what you've got. If you can work another deal to get maybe a low key big man, as long as it's not Jonas Valanciunas, yeah, go try that. But I just think they're just not good enough.
They're Jimmy Butler? No, I'm kidding. We won't do that. I am just gonna stay in the West for a team that needs to self-reflect, choose a direction. And this is a team that we've talked about before, but I think it's been a couple years since I've really felt this way. I think the Sacramento Kings need to decide their direction. They fired Mike Brown. Haven't had a chance to talk about it, but he's the guy who took your team who's underachieved for a decade, an organization that's blundered through every decision that it's made. One coach of the year, brought you guys to the playoffs, lighting the beam. You guys didn't even have a beam. You wouldn't have a beam without Mike Brown. What is this team without the beam? And you lost him. And I'm not going to play Monday morning quarterback about DeMar DeRozan because for one, I understood it that maybe there wasn't like really any other moves, but you kind of made your bed there. You made a bad move. I think it's time to accept it. And it's also time to accept that maybe if you are firing Mike Brown, is this the end of the Sabonis Fox experiment? Is this the end of, the current construct of this team? Are you going to keep pushing on with this squad? Maybe you just have to, but you're going to end in mediocrity again. I think that the unfortunate reality is Mike Brown is a fantastic head coach, and he took the current construct of this team to its apex, and I don't think it's getting any better than that. And this is probably what this team is. The fact that they were a average defense for the personnel that they have, no disrespect to Sabonis, no disrespect to Keegan Murray, who's a fine defender, but it's supposed to be like their ball stopper. Their only real defender is Keon Ellis / De'Aaron Fox at times. And this is the team that they thought was going to take them to the Western Conference Finals. I think they need a big reality check. They need to self-reflect. I'm not all about the blow it up thing. I think teams can be good, but this was not hey, Mike Brown sucks as a head coach. We need to fix it there. This is hey, we put together a flawed roster, added a one-dimensional player, great player, that didn't answer any of our problems, and guess what? We didn't get any better.
This is the era of elite role players. You do not need three stars. Brooklyn Nets, L. Phoenix Suns, L. Sacramento Kings, L. This they went star chasing when I'm not going to say they didn't need to because maybe that just elite role player that they could have got there it wasn't really there for them, so they just thought, okay, we'll get a guy who's just super reliable, great asset, good guy to have in the locker room, good offensive player. So I get why they did it, but you don't need three stars in the NBA today. You need two stars and elite role players. That's what we're seeing with all the best teams around the league right now. That's just the way it is. It's the way it goes. So they made a mistake. I don't know that they can rectify it. I'd be probably more in the blow it up camp than you are, but maybe there's some moves on the fringes that they could make. Is it maybe do they move on from Sabonis? Maybe it's just really tough to see how they can reconfigure it without completely blowing it up.
The reason I'm not a huge blow it up guy, I think that part of this reflection period is what are the pieces we keep. Um,
Yeah.
and I think Fox is just straight up one of the best guards in the league. I mean, when he's like in a playoff setting, he's a ball stopper. When he is engaged, he is a elite perimeter defender. Fastest players in the league. He can play up and down the court. His shot is here and there. But I mean, in terms of a guy who can really turn it on the fourth, there's not a lot of guys like that. I mean, this guy can really turn it on the fourth. But you do not find that everywhere. And because he's in Sacramento, it's not as, you're like, oh yeah, that guy won Clutch Player of the Year. That's kind of it. That's as far as the recognition goes.
Yeah.
But the fact that he had to be that good to win it in Sacramento just shows you how good he is. I would not blow it up in terms of getting rid of him. Uh, but I think that I don't know. At the end of the day, the off season, it's like you brought your car to the mechanic. Like, hey, I need my brakes fixed. It's not stopping well. I need to get that fixed. Otherwise, the car's great. The car's pretty good. You need to get the brakes fixed. And then you go to pick up your car, and you put on a spoiler and a paint job on the outside. He's like, dude, check this out. Give you some jet fuel. You're gonna go faster. But no, I need a brake. Couldn't get that. They gave him exactly what they didn't go faster. The offense could be a little better, and it didn't even work like that. And I think that there was
I just gotta say that was an absolutely beautiful analogy. That was good work. That was good work.
thank you. Elite podcasting. That's this part of my resolution. It's sad though because I don't want to say too long on the Kings, but I wanted it to work because I love DeMar DeRozan and I loved the beam. I love when they light the beam. I love Sacramento. I love their fan base, and I think this is a boring example of you just have to do the common sense thing. You having a sexy offense in this league is not enough to be that good, and especially with the lack of shooting, it's just a no duh problem. They don't have enough perimeter shooting. They didn't do that in the offseason to maybe even make sense of the DeMar DeRozan signing. But at the end of the day, we're here again. We're going to be talking about the Kings again, probably in the offseason, as much as we've done in years past, and it won't be a fun conversation.
Yeah, and it was such a short-lived high as well. It would just be so Sacramento if they had to go
I
and blow
know.
it up from here. Like that's just the pain that they cause their fans. It's just on a whole other level.
So I'll keep it real. One of my resolutions, I do want to lose some weight. And I think there are some teams that want to lose some weight. And no, this is not going to be about Zion. I promise. He actually looks great. That dunk
It was
is
cool.
that
That's fun.
that's dunk of the year, I'd say, for so
Yeah,
far.
he probably
No
like
con-
pulled his hamstring doing it, but hey, it
Yeah,
was
honestly, the first thing I thought of as he was going, I was like, okay, relax. But it's good to see him looking healthy.
come down at a twisted angle or something.
There are some teams that need to lose some weight in terms of their roster, and I think a few teams we talked about at the end of the offseason last year that have not shed some contracts, some players that we've been expecting them to. Is there any teams that are just holding on to some dead weight, some extra players, extra contracts that need to get rid of them at the deadline?
I think the Chicago Bulls are one. I think
Well,
it's more
well,
of they've been slammed in mediocrity, and I think they need to take no risk about potentially losing their pick. I think they need to blow it up and retool. That needs to be the Bulls the second half of the year. They need to blow it up and try and get as close to that number one pick as they possibly can, because that's just the best thing for them. Simple.
I will say the tough part about the Hawks and the Bulls. These are two teams that are not great. They are not like serious contenders. The East sucks, so they will be in the playoffs.
It's true.
But the vibes are good, man.
And the vibes are good. The
The
vibes are
vibes are
good,
good. The
but
Hawks are a little better than they
you
were.
can't
The
get
Bulls are a
blinded
little
by
better.
the you can't get blinded by the
Oh, we
vibes.
are. We are. I promise you we are. And I promise you that the pressure to blow everything up is so much lower than it was in the summer because Zach's playing well. Kobe's playing well. Vooch actually looks good. I mean, Giddy, we know he sucks on defense, but those are some fun passes. Lonzo, look, he's healthy. Did you see that alley-oop? Everyone feels pretty good because it's not as astronomically terrible and just disgusting as it was last year. And to see some fun wins. We've had some fun wins. I mean, we beat New York, we beat Boston. Like those have felt like some pretty good feel good wins. And I don't think that a Reinsdorf led Chicago Bulls team that has always been about money, it's never been about maximizing the on-court product. The fact that we have some like mild good vibes, I don't think anything's changing, man. There will be no self-reflection. I promise you that. That is not on their list. But I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I get
still
it.
a big Zach LaVine proponent. I think I want to see him on a contender. I hope that. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. has been playing better. I don't think that that trade's going to happen. It's just tough with these contracts in the CBA.
Now Levine's contract is tough, but it's looking a lot nicer the way he's been performing
He's
so far
been
this year.
fantastic. He's been one of the most efficient scorers in the league. Who else is putting up that volume from three the way he is? So let's talk about the Trailblazers. They've escaped this podcast for quite some time now for honestly good reason. But you still got guys in that roster that I'm surprised are still there. Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams looks healthy.
Mhm.
And I bring up the two bigs too because Donovan Clingan looks really good. Don't look at his per 36 minutes because stats because they're pretty wild. If this is a guy that all the scouts were excited about, this guy that advanced analytics are excited about, and Donovan Clingan needs more playing time. There are teams out there who need bigs. And I'll even throw in Anthony Simons for one. I mean, a talented guard who
Yeah.
still is producing efficiently. Like they have assets. I know that they're tanking. That's not a secret. There's no idea that they're trying to be doing anything there with their roster. So guys who can be productive on good teams, why are they still there?
Yeah. No, I totally agree there. They're a team that I think they should arguably be the biggest sellers at the deadline, because I think they have the most kind of low key guys that could like be like that seem like fairly tradable, not like guys that they're gonna try and get too much out of, like maybe like you see like a Cam Johnson in Brooklyn and a few other guys like that. So yeah, I definitely agree on them. They're definitely a team that have more vets than they need to have, and have more guys that I think are still in position where they should be on a team where they're kind of growing and thriving, not on a team that's in a transition period for sure.
Yeah, you're talking about elite role players. Robert Williams. I mean, if you can keep him healthy, that's a big if. People are going to forget what he did in Boston. I mean, he was a part of that elite defense. DeAndre Ayton, I mean, yeah, he's not the star we thought he was, but he was a part of the Suns' success getting to the finals. Jeremy Grant, big part of, he played well in Detroit well enough, but he's a big part of the Nuggets and their success in the playoffs as well. I mean, these are guys with playoff experience, championship experience, who definitely would be a huge add to any team who are looking for size, looking for defense, versatility. Like those guys bring it.
I've got one on the flip side, the Grizzlies. Is there any argument for them selling high on a few of their guys and getting more legitimate role players in?
Hmm. Talk to me. You know I'm not gonna like it, but
I know
talk to
you're not
me.
gonna like it, but like they've got guys who, let's not fool ourselves, probably playing at the height of their career. There's probably a couple of guys that maybe it's not gonna get better than this. You think of the
Don't you
Scotty
say his
Porter
name.
Juniors, and guys like that.
Don't you say his name.
And like, can we flip? Could you flip a couple of them? Not all of them. I'm not saying they need to blow up their entire roster. Maybe like, can they turn like Scotty and so one of the other guys into like Scotty and maybe no, let's say Laravia, someone like that. Could they turn that into Cam Johnson somehow?
Dude,
Is that like an area they go with?
this is the Cam Johnson podcast, folks.
He's the prime guy.
Yeah.
He's a one size
Yeah.
fits all guy
Yes. No, he truly
this
is.
trade deadline. So he's the guy I'm going to
Um,
keep on going to. That's just an area with the Memphis because we know they're going towards the playoffs. Their lineup's going to have to, or their rotation's going to have to tighten up a little bit and maybe go and get some guys that we've seen perform in the playoffs and you can believe in that a little bit more than some of the young
it's
guys that they do have.
the reason that's tough is because the way that Memphis has built their offense, unique. I think we talked about it before. Um, it's such like a living organism. The way that they play off of each other, the shifting of the offense, the way that they really have such good chemistry, and the ball movement would not be the way it is. The pace that they play with would not be the way it is without the chemistry they've developed. And I mean, Jake LaRavia is no world beater, and he's a cog in their machine. But you pull a cog out of the machine, does the machine still work? Not to say that Cam Johnson is like a ball stopper or the ball stops in his hands or anything like that, but um, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, does he change? Does a guy like Cam Johnson change what they need? I mean, I think Memphis is going into this like, hey, we got what we need. One of the best teams in the league. I'm
That's
not
fair.
worried about anybody. And Scotty, I mean, they just found their Tyus Jones 2.0 for nothing. It's found money. I don't think that they are a team that should go for. I thought you were gonna say like Jimmy Butler or something like that.
No, no, no,
Um,
no.
and because I don't love those rumors. I don't think that makes sense for them. I think they got plenty of defense to go around, and Jimmy Butler's not. I I don't think they have enough of that energy. I feel like he's too much.
I think we're
And that
seeing those rumors like going in the wrong way. Like apparently that the Grizzlies want him and Jimmy doesn't want to go there. It should really be the other way around.
No, literally, like I don't understand that sentiment. I didn't understand it with Andre Iguodala felt it. I don't understand if that's true, how Jimmy Butler's feeling about going there. But I could argue that the depth that the Grizzlies have had is not dead weight. Everyone on that team produces. Everyone on that team produces, and it's a testament to their scouting, a testament to their coaching. But I mean, picking up a guy like Jay Huff, and he's been such a productive player for him. Scotty, how productive he's been. Like Jake LaRavia, who's had kind of a mess skill set coming into the league, now being a productive player for them. It's their cogs, and I don't. I'm not excited about pulling cogs out of a machine that's running very well right now.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's just it's always like I'm probably looking ahead a bit too much and just knowing that we're getting close to the play. When you're in the playoffs, you're going to have an 8-man rotation, possibly nine, not
That
12.
this is true. OKC Thunder though they proved that wrong. I mean they were playing like 10, 11 guys
Yeah, what
last
happened to them?
season.
What happened to them again?
Oh, we'll see what happens this
Yeah,
year, man. We'll
yeah.
see. Um, let's talk about consistency, doing little things. That's a big resolution, and I think we know what team we need to talk about with consistency, doing little things, taking care of business, and I think I know who you're gonna say. So why don't you just say it?
You say it at the same time. We're going to have different teams. I can't wait for this. I looked at the 76ers when I said that.
Bucks.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say Knicks. You were not obvious. You changed your answer. I knew you were gonna say Knicks. You're not
No,
gonna say
no, no.
Knicks?
I wasn't going Knicks. I had a different thing for the Knicks. I think the Knicks need to learn a new skill slash hobby, and that's playing their bench. But yeah, so I looked at 76ers, just say obviously we know the obvious one, get Joel healthy, but more importantly, get Paul George playing. Paul George has been so bad this year. Like he is not like 16.3 points per game, 42% for the field, third like that like he is not putting up impressive numbers at all. He's only had 5 games scoring 20 plus this year. Worst 3-point percentage since year one. Worst points per game since year two. Paul George has been an absolute disaster for the 76ers so far. And I know this whole season's been a disaster, but he's gotten a bit more healthy, and like they need to get him going.
If you look at Paul George's career, his peak years are always in contract years.
Yeah, he's that guy.
His
He's
worst
that dude.
years, his worst years are always in year one of those contracts. And th that can be total coincidence. We'll say that.
Nah.
But read into it if you like. I'll
Dude's
just leave it
chill.
there.
Dude's like, I'm good. I'm good. I got my money. I'm chill.
Um, I would say the Bucks, because the Bucks are they are no
I get
longer
that
like
side, yeah.
this panic team. I think that they've shown, all right, we've turned things around. We're not sinking. We have a direction.
They're just going
Um,
through the curse of winning the NBA Cup at this moment.
but truly, interesting to see them also this morning. Now that we're mentioning the Bucks, that they're going to move Middleton to the bench. Interested to see how
Hmm.
that goes. Good to see that they're just changing lineups in general because they don't have a lot to play with in terms of
Yeah,
lineups.
it's good for your fantasy team too, right?
I will see, but they need to stop losing to bad teams. They lose to
Yeah, that's
Portland,
true.
Brooklyn, Chicago. Brooklyn again. Brooklyn's like, can you stop beating, like letting us beat you? Like we're not trying to do this. It just blows my mind that, defensively they can't turn it on when it matters against teams like that. Like they play down to the level of teams that they are superior than, and they just can't let that happen. Especially when, I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, Giannis is playing at an MVP level. Giannis is still top three player in this league. His defense has gotten better, and everyone needs to rally around that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I like if you talked to me a month ago, I would definitely have said the Knicks. They slowly were looking like they're growing out of losing to crap teams. They kind of fell back into it a little bit in this past week, but then obviously they got the bounce
Huh.
back win against the Raptors
What crap teams do they lose to?
and the Chicago Bulls and the
I
Orlando
don't think
Magic.
that's I don't know if that's a crap team.
I,
That's just me
I
though. That's
mean,
just me. That's just me.
okay, well, let's say the team that are inferior to the Knicks. Let's put it that way. Then
Uh
I'll say that. I won't say crap teams, but yeah.
uh
So the Knicks are I've grown out of it more so than the Bucks have. So yeah, that's why I think it's fair to have the Bucks in that category. Also, the Suns need to figure it out too. Like Suns,
there will
figure
be
out
a
the
record.
lineups, figure out what you want to do with this roster. Do you actually want to move on from the Nurkic and Beal, or what? You got to figure it out because the clock is tick tick ticking in Phoenix. They got to figure
That
it out.
there will be a reckoning in Phoenix, and we will be talking about them soon. I'll say that much. Um, my last resolution to talk about here. Everyone has it. Everyone has a bad habit. Everyone wants to get rid of a toxic habit this year. Maybe some teams want to get rid of a toxic habit. Maybe they want to get rid of a toxic player. I think now's the time. Let's talk Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
Let's talk Jimmy Butler. The Miami Heat have been on a crazy run with Jimmy. We know Jimmy's issues with teams in the past. I love Jimmy Butler. Let me just put that out there. But it seems like it has unfortunately run its course and it's become a toxic relationship, something I need to get rid of. Of all the things you've read, like where do you think this is going? I don't have a clear picture. You mentioned the Suns. That's been pretty well documented that he wants to go to the Suns. I don't see how that happens. I don't think that's a possibility. Beal would have to say yes. And does the Heat want to take on that they've made it not so quietly clear that they are not too interested in that contract and Beal as a player. He doesn't want to go to the Grizzlies. If the Grizzlies wanted him and that's he didn't want to go there, okay, that you're just limiting your options. Where could he even end up? Any creative ideas? Any crazy ideas? Any not even considering CBA?
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I just don't know where he's gonna go because of how ugly it's gotten in Miami. Like this is not. I didn't see it getting this bad. Like the guy getting picking up a suspension for because they believe that he is not showing his best self. Like he is actively going out and harming the team. Like that's like really bad. That's like the lowest level that you can get to. Like a lot of people are still saying I think he's going to end up staying in Miami, and I think that's likely going to happen just by default. There's no coming back. Like there's no you can't come back from this. He's too far gone. It's too far gone for this to come back in any sort of real positive way. Like it's not possible to happen. Yeah, he might end up staying in Miami, and yeah, just being like you never really know with Jimmy. He could just be a dick and pick up his player option like that could totally happen. But it's so tough to find a spot for him because of the CBA, the contract. I just know that whether he stays in Miami beyond the trade deadline or not, it'd be the best thing for both to move on. The Heat, if I'm the Heat, I'm not too worried about. I'd be considering selling low. And now we're seeing updates in there. They're not in any rush to trade him. They're going to get the best deal. Maybe they can do that. But I think it'd be the best thing for them just to get him out of the building.
Yeah, if that just means he's not playing. Um, maybe the Bucks.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
It would be Portis, Middleton, pick swap. It's not strong. I mean, that's in terms of contenders who are like, we could really use perimeter defender slash point guard. I mean, he's a bona fide upgrade over Middleton.
Yeah, but you know what
But
that would be the Bucks doing? That'd be them chasing that third star, which doesn't bring success.
okay,
Losing
let's
Bobby Portis would leave such a hole in the Bucks team.
whoa. Okay. Let's just explore this thought real quick. I want you to confirm what you're saying. So if the deal was on the table for Bobby Portis, role player, um, Chris Middleton for Jimmy Butler, picks, two pick swaps, you would say no, and the deal breaker for you is Bobby Portis.
Yeah, I think he plays such a big role in this Bucks team that it would be detrimental for them to lose him.
The deal breaker for upgrading over Chris Middleton to Jimmy Butler is Bobby Portis. I think you're insane. I think that's insane. We're going a little too far with this role player thing. What happened?
I want to see this happen just to shove it down your throat right now. I want this trade to go down. You've
Hey
got
man,
me sold on it. I want it to
maybe
happen
I'm a
just to
little
say,
jaded. I'm a little jaded about this whole like Timberwolves thing because we're so sold on. All right, their Timberwolves are really focusing on depth. Let's get Cat out of here, and we're gonna focus on our depth, our young guys. Nas Reed, and how's that gone? How's that gone? They
that
just lost.
was that was getting rid of a star guy and focusing on their depth.
Yeah,
It's not the same here.
yeah, that didn't work. That didn't
But
work. Their
this is
depth
a
isn't
different
helping.
situation. This is a different situation. This is about getting rid of your depth to add another star.
Yeah, but Bobby Portis is depth to a degree,
He is
but
all the
Jimmy,
Bucks depth. He's the
he's
only depth that the Bucks have.
listen. If you replace him with AJ Johnson, who's gonna now average 5-5 instead of what Portis is like 12-6 to get Jimmy Butler in, guy who's actually going to like elevate you in the playoffs. Chris Middleton doesn't have ankles anymore.
I know
They're
Chris
gone.
Middleton is like,
He's done.
can they can they find? It's probably not possible money wise for them to get another role player in that deal. They'd have to yeah, that's not possible. Yeah,
There's nothing left.
yeah. It's
They
just
need something
I get
drastic.
it. I don't get me wrong. I believe that the Bucks would do that deal. I just don't think that. I think it would be a mistake. I think that I don't really think it raises the ceiling as much as it looks like it would do on paper.
I think that's insane. I think it's insane. Jimmy Butler, like, I think people are undervaluing Jimmy Butler. I mean, he was a 3-point shot against the Celtics from them making three finals.
I think people are also undervaluing the fact that Giannis Antetokounmpo has not been healthy for the playoffs the last 2 years.
Yeah, and it's because he's had to put the whole team on his back. And I'm not going to say that Jimmy Butler's the healthiest guy on the planet in the regular season, but I think you can put a little bit more on him than you can Chris Middleton. That's I think that I
I
mean
get
yeah,
that.
and you have
I get
Dame.
that.
You need perimeter defense. You need an elite perimeter defender. You need to replace the playmaking of Chris Middleton. That's just he still can do it, but to what degree anymore? And the Bucks, I think I'm just trying to think of a team that has like true championship aspirations that need that ceiling raiser. And I think the Bucks ceiling is a little bit lower than we thought it was, even though they have Dame and Giannis. And does Jimmy Butler bring them there? I don't think there's a lot of teams in like mild desperation mode that might make a move because they need to. Because a lot of the middling teams are like, yeah, screw that. That's not going to win us a championship. But I think the Bucks would be like, you know what? Screw it, Chip. Bobby Porter. I'm gonna say no to maybe a chance at another championship because Bobby Portis. No, no
I'm
way.
against it. Me, I've made it clear on this pod. Like I'm against the whole 3-star prod. I just don't think it works. But I should also say I do believe that that's on the table. The Bucks do it. I will.
Yeah.
I'll admit that.
Is Derek is
I don't
Derek
think
White a
they let losing
star?
Bobby Portis stop them making that deal.
Is Derek White a star?
Derek White is an elite role player.
Okay, fine. All right, we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. Some fast break, quick fast break.
Yeah, let's finish it out.
All right. Are you worried about the Celtics interior defense, even with Kristaps Porzingis on the floor? They have the 21st ranked interior defense, and we saw that against OKC.
True. Um, it's always so tough to know because like you can still make the argument, yeah, Porzingis is still trying to get healthy. The Celtics, they've already won that chip, so now it's just about kind of not coasting, but taking it a little bit easy in the regular season and just worrying about the playoffs. So I'm not worried at this stage, but talk to me again in a month or two.
All right, if you pass me the ball, I'm gonna say a little worried when you think about the Cavs. I'll leave it at that.
Hmm.
That's the team that just
Yeah,
like really locked down the paint, really ate in the paint. We'll see how that ends up playing out. Um, this is a funny one. How many games do you think Kawhi is going to play over the next 45 games? Over under, let's say 27. I just made that up in my head.
uh, probably under. Well, he's away from the team again now because he's spending time with his family who had to evacuate because of
Wild.
the
Those are
wildfires
crazy. I
in
hope
LA,
everyone's
which
safe.
obviously are crazy. So yeah, prayers going out to LA, and I get why he's having to do that, but this is already a couple of games he missed last night because he's spending time with his family. How long does that last for? Is there delays to games in LA because of what's going on? That could potentially come about as well. I mean, yeah, it's still the regular season. Let me take the over there.
Take the over. So, follow up, second shot. 30 out of the next 45 games that he plays that. Are the Clippers a top six team if he plays 30 out of the next 45?
Yes.
I'll tell you this, they're the fourth best defense all year. And in the two measly games that Kawhi Leonard has played, they've put up 115 offensive rating, which is eighth best in the league. Small sample size, but we've seen the offense, seen he stabilizes it, seen Harden can play more natural point guard. I think the only question for them is Norm Powell. Can he
You
still
stay
keep
hot.
doing what he's doing?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look at it. You're kind of yeah. You feel like they're kind of the team that kind of fill that sixth spot. I mean, it's a battle between them, the Lakers, and I guess the Timberwolves. They putting them in that battle for that sixth seed, and think obviously we've got OKC, Memphis, Houston, Denver, and Dallas. They're the top five, and then it's a fight out who gets that sixth spot, and the Clippers are very much in that fight.
Mhm. This is my last one. Have you seen the voting for All-Star?
I have
LaMelo Ball, I believe, unless anything changed yesterday, is leading guards in voting in the East.
fan voting.
Fan voting.
The fan voting there.
Is
That's an
LaMelo
important element of it.
is LaMelo Ball a top five point guard in the East?
Yes,
Is
because
he
he's never
better
healthy.
than Darius Garland?
Yeah. Who's
Okay.
having a bigger impact right now? The
This
answer is
season,
Darius
this
Garland.
season,
Who's a
this
better
season.
player? The answer is LaMelo Ball.
Okay, but no. This season, just saying this season. Who is the better point guard? LaMelo Ball, Garland. Not
LaMelo Ball.
potential, not over.
LaMelo Ball.
Ronan.
The only reason
This guy's played like
yeah, okay.
five
You know what?
games.
Yeah,
I'm
screw praising injured guys. It's Darius Garland. Okay, I'll give it to you then.
the guy who actually plays for the
Yeah,
best team in the
let's go
East.
for the guy who actually plays.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Maybe it's marginal, but I guess I would go a little bit. That's interesting. You're entitled to your opinion. That's fine. Um, Brunson.
Is LaMelo Ball better than Jalen Brunson? No,
Mhm.
he's not.
So that one was questionable.
Yeah.
All right, Damian Lillard,
No, Dame's still above him.
Cade Cunningham.
I mean, that's the conversation. They're the guys who are going to go toe to toe for the next 10 years, see who's the best point guard in the East. But
Who
right
is the best?
now, yeah, Cade. Cade's been
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Trey Young.
You know my feelings about Trey Young. You know how I
Take
feel
your
about Trey
take your New
Young.
York bias out of here.
But
Trey Young.
damn, the way he's diamond, yeah, you gotta put him up there.
Last one. Tyrese Maxey.
I've been a little bit disappointed with Tyrese this year. Not gonna lie.
I
But
mean, dude, his back is hurting.
yeah, but dude he's the only guy who's ever on the
Back is
floor for
hurting.
Philly. So yeah, you gotta put him above LaMelo.
And guess
Yeah,
what?
LaMelo's
He's
just a dick who's just he just the Ball family just hate playing basketball. They just love getting paid and getting contracts and then getting injured. That's
don't
just
talk
what they
about
do.
Lonzo. Don't talk about Lonzo like that. I'll even put it this way. And
That's
what
gonna
about
change. He's gonna end up as a snub once we getting the other voting comes in from the players and from
good
certain members of the
snub all you
media.
want. Snub all you want. The team sucks. You barely play. You
Yeah.
take a lot of
He
threes.
doesn't deserve to be an all-star. That's true.
What about Tyrese Halliburton? Eh,
Another guy who I've been a little bit disappointed with this year, but I believe we're going to see an uptick now moving towards the actual All-Star weekend. So yeah, still keep Tyrese above him. If LaMelo had been playing, imagine if LaMelo Ball had played like even like 33, 34 games this year, which is basically the majority of them, I think he is top five. But the fact that he's just never playing, you can't put him in that category.
yeah. I think the thing that separates some of these guys is the other stuff. Is the defense, is not one dimensional. And I think that to some degree he is on a bad team chucking. And I hate doing that. I don't like doing that. But it's kind of true.
Yeah,
He gets to
that's true.
chuck a lot and he
He
doesn't have to
does.
play any defense and he's not held responsible for that. Meanwhile, you look what Garland's doing. I mean, he's really evolved on that end of the floor. I mean, he's not a world stopper by any means, but the stuff that he has to do on a winning team, stuff that Bronson has to do, and well, that's documented. I guess Dame gets away with it because he's just Dame.
He's damn,
That
yeah.
that's maybe where I that's
He's
maybe
built
where
up
I would
enough
draw the
reputation.
line.
That's
Yeah,
that's give him a little
yeah.
bit of credit.
And
The most important
Max,
thing about the All-Star voting is that Karl Anthony Towns was third after Giannis and Tatum, which is exactly the way it's supposed to
yes,
be.
yes. I think there has to be a conversation of where Cat now stands in the rankings, the ever so frustrating rankings that mean nothing but mean everything to us. But I think that's gonna about do it for our resolutions. Any more fast break?
No, I
Got
think we're
anything you want
good.
to throw
Actually,
out?
moving towards the All-Star stuff and just yeah, I think we hit the nails that we needed to hit. It's good to be back.
It's good to be back and good to have everyone on. Guys, I'm sorry for the intro. We'll get better at it now that I'm being forced to do it. I guess we're doing the outro too. This is how this works. I haven't done this in years, but Happy New Year. Hope all your resolutions are maintained. I hope everyone has a great start to the 2025. If you like what you're hearing, we are everywhere on Spotify, on Apple, maybe on Stitcher. I'm not sure because I haven't done an outro in a while, but it's good to be back. Good to talk some basketball. We will catch you on next week's episode. Peace out.
Let's go.